second of that, and they came through unscathed, but dropping points themselves as well in their own race, not to be champions, then certainly to try and seal a place in the top four. So Arsenal have extended their advantage to 8 points at the top, but it means that Manchester City have a chance to close the gap to 5 if they beat Chelsea on Thursday night at Stamford Bridge. Newcastle still in third place, ahead of Manchester United by virtue of goal difference. Manchester United still in action right now and beating Bournemouth with, 5-10 minutes still to play at Old Trafford. The final of they had on target. 3 of those came in the second half. Just the one on target tonight from Newcastle. Arsenal with so many more passes in the final third and much more of the ball as well tonight. Double the touches in the opposition box, but they just couldn't make it count. And Newcastle held firm for a 6th consecutive clean sheet. And Arsenal's record of scoring every game this season has gone. Let's hear from one of that Newcastle rearguard, Dan Burn, now in conversation with Jeff Shreves.
Dan, well, Arsenal have won every game at home so far this season. You've got such a wretched record here. What sort of result is that?
Yeah, huge. To be fair, I thought Arsenal were really good. They were a tough team to figure out. The players move about a lot in midfield, so I think we struggled with the press. They started really well. Thought we weathered the storm for a bit, but I think it just shows how resilient we've been probably for the past year. And when we're not playing at our best, we're hard to beat.
How heavy was that storm, particularly in the first part of the game, and particularly on your side of the pitch?
Yeah, Saka's a great player. He can go both ways. I think the wingers helped us a lot, doubled up on him. I thought we sort of got the hang of him as the game went on. But yeah, I think we've got a good mix of young lads and experience in the team, and I think we know that we want to weather the storm and we'd settled. I thought we grew into the game, and we were happy with the point.
Was it key tonight as well to be tactically spot on in terms of the distances between full-backs and centre-backs, plus getting help from midfield, doubling up, sometimes trebling up on their forward players in the wide areas?
Yeah, I think we do a lot of work on sort of converging on the ball. When the ball goes to the wingers, we try and get 3 players on them. And I think the way that they bring sort of Zinchenko into the midfield means they normally play sort of 5 forwards against our 4 back lads. So it's tough, mentally tough. But yeah, I'm happy with the way we performed tonight.
Did you know that's 6 clean sheets in a row, which equals a club 40-year record? What does that tell us about what you're doing right now?
It just tells us that we're sort of believing in the philosophy, what the gaffer's brought in. We're a really sort of tight-knit group of lads, love working for each other. And I think it was sort of really important that we got that clean sheet tonight against Arsenal.
Were you looking to frustrate them as well, take the heat out of the game at times?
I think you've got to. I think if you go toe-to-toe with sort of a lot of good teams, sort of City and Liverpool as well, I think a lot of people just expect you to just let them win. But there's a lot of ways to win a football game, and yeah, that's what we thought we managed the game well.
Heart in the mouth when they were appealing for a penalty at the end?
Nah, I knew we were fine. VAR's fine, isn't it? Yeah, no bother.
Well done tonight.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, Dan. Well done. Thank you.
He was confident, wasn't he, Dan Burn? Well, let's hear what his manager thought of that, because I'm delighted to say that Eddie Howe is downstairs and joins us live right now. Eddie, thanks so much for speaking to us. What did you think when you heard and saw those claims for a penalty in those final seconds? And tell us about that conversation that was ongoing with Mikel Arteta down there.
Well, obviously, at that stage of the game, you're thinking, please, no, the lads have given so much to the game. That would have been a travesty for us. I didn't think it was a penalty just because of the proximity, but you just never know. And, yeah, delighted. Me and Mikel, it was fine.
Tell us about the game itself then, Eddie. It seemed like there was a lot of frustration from the Arsenal team. But in terms of what you take from it?
I think a very, very good defensive display, very good mentality from the group. I think you saw real teamwork today. We weren't defending in ones. It was very much 2s and 3s, a collective effort all around the pitch. I think Arsenal are very, very good. They pose you different problems. They really stretch you. And we knew defensively we needed to be rock solid. I don't think there was any period in the game where we were totally okay. It was real work all through the game. We did have our moments. I don't think we were great with the ball today, but we did have our moments, and we could have potentially nicked it on the counter-attack or from a set play.
Was it getting through 5 or 10 minutes when Arsenal really came at you?
Yeah, I think a couple of self-induced moments that gave us problems early in the game. I thought we settled down after 15, 20 minutes, got a foothold in midfield and started to play. But as I say, Arsenal, a top side, I think we did very well in the second half as pressure grew, to be resilient. And I think Nick, had one save to make that I remember, one very good save. Apart from that, it was a lot of pressure, but most of it in front of us.
Moments yourself. I'm thinking about Joe Linton just before half-time, Eddie.
Yeah, no, we did, and I was a little bit disappointed we couldn't pose them more of a threat. Some of our counter-attacking wasn't at its normal level, but set plays as well at the end, we got a few you think we could have done better with. So, look, high standards, we're reaching high, but the lads are giving everything. I think you saw that today. The collective effort was superb.
8 hours and 45 minutes since your team conceded a goal. That must be a source of huge pride for you.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I don't like stats like that when they're read out because it's you're setting yourself up. But I sort of wanted to go under the radar, really, in terms of our defensive performance, which has been very, very good. As I say, that doesn't happen from 3 or 4 players. It has to happen from 11. And full credit to everyone.
Now a little bit, Eddie, about, I suppose, your thinking, your psychology going into this game, because we'd build it really as a possible title challenge here tonight. Yourselves coming here in 3rd place, Arsenal top. How did you see it?
We wanted to attack the game. We wanted to be ourselves. The reality of that, I don't think we quite were. But I think that's credit to Arsenal with how they played. I think they forced us to sit a little bit deeper than we would normally want to. But sometimes you have to do that. In a game, you have to slightly tweak how you play to stay in the match. I felt we had to. We did. And the players deserve all the credit for coming through that test.
What do you think that's the next stage then of your development, Eddie, as a team? Because we've seen how solid you are defensively, to go and really attack teams like Arsenal on their own grounds.
Well, we tried to do that today. That was the intention. So there was no backward steps in terms of our preparation. I think the next step for us is to have a little bit more quality on the ball. I think there were moments for us today to really hurt them. But a loose pass, loose touch, sort of broke those attacks down. So I think that's next in our evolution. But we're looking to improve all aspects of our game continually.
So that debate goes on, I guess, internally, Eddie. We've seen reports that perhaps there is a decision to be made whether more money is spent in January or you wait until the summer. How do you see it?
I think at the moment we're taking a. We've got a strong team. We have a strong group of players who are giving everything. But we will assess. January is a long month. We'll assess what we need as it goes through. Certainly, there's no intentions imminently to improve the squad, but that could possibly change.
Come through 3 difficult games post World Cup without conceding a goal, adding 5 points as well to the tally. So you're still in 3rd place. How do you see that race now? What can you tell us about the targets for the rest of the season?
Very boring response from me. There's no race from our perspective. This is just about being the best team that we can be on a continued basis. We need to improve. We're working hard to do that every day, as I say, with the players that we have. And that is our main goal.
Eddie, we wish you well. Thanks so much for talking to us.
Thank you.
End there. Sense as well, though, Les, a little bit of frustration on his part that they weren't able to create more themselves and show us there is some quality in that Newcastle team going forward.
And I think from the start we thought they were going to do. We expected Arsenal to start quick. We expected Newcastle to defend, but we expected them to catch them on the counter. And to be honest, at no stage they did that. The quality of the ball up to the front man, the quality of the ball to the wide man, it just wasn't there. But what I will say is every single one of those Newcastle players went to the welfare for Eddie tonight. And the wing backs, they worked back, the wingers worked back to help the full-backs. And as he said, every time Saka picked up the ball, Martinelli picked up the ball, there was 3 players on them. So to get back there and then to get back up the other end of the pitch was always going to be a tough task for them. And that's where their quality failed a little bit, especially in the second half. It was almost like versus defence.
Was it lack of quality, Paul, do you think? Or was it about the intent from Newcastle in possession?
It's hard, really. 3 or 4 days ago, they're playing Leeds at home and they've got to win that game. So all their training's about attack, attack, attack. Then they come off the pitch, have a day's rest, and it's bang, we're playing against the best team in the country at the moment with the best home record, and we've got to defend. It's so hard to defend and then get up the other end and score goals. Whoever gets that, and probably Man City are the only ones, and sometimes they're Achilles' heels at the back. I thought they did well. I'm with Les. It's just their final pass. I think if they were more clinical and took time on their fight, and even been more stronger. I think there was a couple of times I thought they were quite weak where they could have held it up and they were getting brushed off the ball. But, yeah, I mean, I watched them get beat at Liverpool 2-1 when Liverpool scored in 98th minute. Since then, they haven't lost away from home. I think it's a great point. You know, Arsenal got to learn how to play against 10 behind the ball because that's the respect they've earned.
Well, you saw it from Arsenal spillover, didn't you, with that late penalty shout?
Yeah.
Eddie says no chance.
Yeah, I can't make a case for it if I'm being honest. I mean, it's drilled in. The lad's arm as well, Murphy's arm sort of behind him. I'd be disappointed if I've got that given against me, if I'm being honest. I think Dan Burns' one is more of a penalty.
Well, we'll come to that. What about this?
To be fair, Nurse did shout for a penalty when it went in there.
The whole stadium.
I'm surprised VAR didn't hear him, do you know what I mean? But no chance of that being a penalty. There's no way he can move his arm to him. You know, I suppose the reaction from the players causes the reaction from the manager as well. Because
it was more desperation, I think, than anything else, wasn't it? But this is what it's like to be a manager. So this is why you're a director of football, Les.
Don't worry, I get frustrated like that up in the stand as well. But
he said it was all fine on the touchline. There was the other penalty shout that you talked about, the one on Dan Burn.
Stonewall.
The little bit of a pull, you thought.
In my opinion, Stonewall, he's got a complete and utter grab of his shirt. You can see his fist is clenched as well, and he is proper pulling that back. I mean,
not enough according to Stockley Park.
That's a foul anywhere else on the football pitch. Look at that. That is absolutely... we've seen people get booked tonight. 2 or 3 people getting booked for stopping people running away from the ball, pulling people back. For me, I thought that was a Stonewall.
I don't understand how that is not clear and obvious. He's got hold of his shirt. Yeah. He stopped him attacking the ball. I mean, it's a clear-cut penalty. It's a clear-cut penalty. He's got hold of his shirt. I mean, I've seen them say it depends how long he's got hold of the shirt for, but...
Is that one of the muddiest areas still in officiating? The tangle that we see every time a set piece in, a wide free kick, a corner?
I think if players are bumping into each other and we see them get their arms around and sometimes it's a little bit clumsy. But when you've got hold of someone's shirt and you can see it as clear as day and you know, it's stretching, it's a penalty. You know, and when you're seeing it, there's no way we're looking at it and saying that's not a penalty.
And that's where I think the people in Stockley Park, in the van, wherever they are, have... I don't want to use the word clue, but they haven't got an understanding of the game. You know, that is, for me, is a penalty. There might be another game next week where someone just goes like that and grabs them, and then I can understand.
But is that not part of the new Howard Webb, where they want to be softly? They want not to re-referee football matches as much as they possibly can?
Yeah, I can understand that, but as so clear and obvious, he's clenched. His hand's clenched with his shirt. For me, anywhere else on the football pitch, it is a free kick. And we see players get booked tonight for less than that.
What I asked there is, if he doesn't hold his shirt, does he get on the ball? Does Gabriel get the header on the ball? And I think he does. So if you're stopping him from getting that header on the ball, it's got to be a foul.